What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back with another one. Guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about the education system in Africa and whether the education system in Africa is beneficial to Africa or not. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holla. People. African countries, for the longest of time, right, have been doing like your ordinary level examinations, your British based English exams as the national exams, right, for the longest time. And this this was quite a unique it was a unique way for Africa to actually learn about the world. And what was great about it is it increased your scope, it increased your vision, it increased your whole mental capacity of just thinking beyond your borders. I mean, O levels is a great thing. It really gave you in-depth look into Europe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's nothing greater than an O-level education. I mean, it's an internationally recognized examination, qualification, right? So Africa benefited a lot from the O levels, I must say. Great education system. Africans really took it, they ran with it, they were managed to get jobs overseas with it. They're able to enter other prestigious universities around the world with their O level examination. And that was a real great thing. And O levels did damage to Africa as well. And that was the funny thing about it, because with the O levels curriculum, you knew so much about others that you didn't even know much about yourself. That was the aim and the goal of doing the ordinary level examination, which is obviously from the Cambridge University, right? So, is it a good education? Yes, it is. For who is it good for? That's the thing. Who is it primarily aimed at? And who is the target audience? That's what you got to look at. Because what we blindly do as Africans, anything foreign, we embrace. We see it as quality, we see it as top notch, we see it as the end all and be all. If you want to get an education, you have to make sure you get a Western education. That is the primary, but that's the premise of African schooling system. You know, if you want to learn more, you get a foreign education. If you want to peer learn it, you have to get a foreign education. And so the cycle of brainwashing began, right? Did you know how embarrassing it is that you have students in the universities of South Africa that don't even know where Benin is? Equatorial Guinea, they don't know. Djibouti, they don't know. Mauritania, they don't know. Last but not least, they don't even know where the Sahel region is. Now, if you have your O levels, you would know where these places are, but you don't, right? And so, my question comes: if O levels is such a bad thing for the African continent, why did we have them for so long? And why is it that only now, in the latter part of, well, let's say the 2000s, or the latter part of the 20th century, or in the early part of the 21st century, did African countries only then start to phase it out? You know, isn't that something that governments would have done at the inception of independence? Wouldn't that something they'd look at it with a critical view and say one of the most important things in society is information, not just information, but the type of information that we receive? Wouldn't that be top of mind when they are remodeling the country's systems? Don't you think? Fortunately, that was not on their minds. Sad to think, but that's the reality of international examinations and what the impact they have on the African mindset. So you know how it goes, right? Next, we get into the pros of the international exams and how it affects African mindsets and how it shapes African mind mentalities. Right? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holla. People, the pros of doing international exams is that you get to learn more from the other side. It's like when these international countries set out their examinations, right? They look at the world from their perspective, from their point of view, right? So you get to see that side of the world too from their lens, which is not a bad thing, right? Number two, it allows you access into these different countries from where these examinations are accepted and where they are set. And that's a very valuable thing to have in your possession. Number three, in the beginning, all these examinations were actually marked, or at least were made to believe that they were actually sent to the countries of origin. And that's where they were marked and they were brought back into the countries. I don't know if that's a plus. I guess that is another international badge of honor, I guess. Imagine having your paper being marked in England that you wrote you somewhere in Africa, but your paper sent over. I don't know if that's a plus, but it feels like a plus. Hey, then it's a plus. Last thing, the real reason why I think the um, the benefit of having an internationally recognized examination, right, is the mere fact that it connects so many dots, right? Because give an example, right? England does O levels, South Africa does O levels, Hong Kong does O levels. Uh, let's just say what else? What else? Let's just say Australia, New Zealand, they do O level, right? But the mere fact that you all sit and do the exact same examination, right? When you go to these countries, right? When you go to these countries, even when you're speaking, just the language, the tonality, the just that alone, I'm talking about now in written speeches. You know what I mean? It's like you speak in the same exact language. So it makes that whole language barrier easier, the transition from one country to another. It's we can all speak English, we can all write English, but it's some English is difficult to understand than other English. So, and that's mainly based on accent as well, and even sometimes in writing styles. You know, for some reason, like if you go to India speaks English, Jamaicans speak English, Nigerians speak English, Americans speak English, Scottish speak English, the Irish speak English, right? But when these people meet and they mesh, it's totally different. It's just not, it's hard to understand one another. You know what I mean? And even just the writing styles is just different, right? The writing styles are different. But when you're doing a one set examination and then it develops this one unique writing style, just this, it comprehends it's almost hard to picture what I'm trying to say, man. I don't know how to explain it in words. I don't know how to, but yeah, I'll think of the right word. It's just that, you know what I mean? You notice that people who write the same shade exam, they have this certain way of writing and explaining things as compared to other people who write a different set of examinations. They have a totally different way of communicating and writing style. It's just different. It's just totally different. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are the pros that I can think of when it comes to the O levels and international examinations. Next, we get into the cons. You know how it goes, bros. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we're family, right? Holla. The cons. The cons of having international examinations, right? Number one, the primary focus of international exams is not to boost local knowledge. That's the thing. The number one priority of international examinations is to push an international agenda. And that's the sad reality that most people don't seem to understand. If you look at most international exams, they hardly talk or they hardly ever teach or preach about the local history. And that is a very big no no. Secondly, international exams are mainly set to brainwash people, well, other nations, to where these exams are accepted, into believing the viewpoints of what the setters, the originators of these exams want them to believe. And they are there to shape the narrative and the mindset of the people to which these exams are intended to reach. So you see, just because you have written an international examination does not make you a better, does not make you a more um, prestigious person. But what actually happens is these examinations are not, they do not have goodwill. They do not have good intentions to them, to be very honest with you. Because if you are an African, right? If you're in Africa, the single most beneficial thing to an African is an African education. You cannot come, African, you cannot go to America and go and preach African history there. Solely African history, teaching African history. Of what benefit is African history to Americans if they don't know anything about America? See, now that's what the international exams fail to address. Because when you are in Africa and you do these international exams, they touch a bit on Africa. They do not explore the in depth history, knowledge, and scientific findings of Africa. And that is the problem with all these international exams. They do not capture the essence of where the Africans are coming from and the essence of what Africa was built on. So, yes, there's always a pro and a con to everything in life, and so are international exams. So, yes, there are very many benefits to having international exams, but with those many benefits also come many downfalls and pitfalls. Always remember that. Always a yin and a yang. So, people, let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we're family, right? And let me know if you'd prefer having a localized African education or an internationally recognized education. Now, what I just prefer, to be honest, is having localized exams. So when I say localized, I would prefer having exams that teach Africans about Africa first and in-depth knowledge of Africa. I would prefer an examination that would teach from Cape to Cairo, from Mombasa to um, for Dakar, Senegal, Dakar, right? I would love that. I would love Africans to know about Africa first. I couldn't care less about knowing about St. Petersburg and the Bolshevik Revolution. If I don't even understand the Zulu Wars, what is the Petty Wars and the Evils and the Biafra Wars. I mean, there's so much rich African history and tapestry that we are never taught. But I can tell you now, we all know about the Queen of England. We all know about the King of England. We all know about the presidents of America. We all know about this. How is this benefiting Africa? How? If you don't even know your own history, if you don't even know the history of your own people, but here we are knowing the history of foreign lands who don't even know the history of our own people. How does that benefit us? You understand what I'm saying? So, Americans mainly only know about America because they only really teach about America in American schools. So that's why they only really know about America. So we also need to adopt that mindset. We need to nationalize our education system and make sure our education system preaches only things about Africa. We need to learn more about ourselves, where we come from, where we are, where we're going, than to learn about the history and presence and everything about foreign nations that we have no bearing on. That's my whole point. Maybe I'm wrong. You let me know in the comment section whether I'm on the money or whether I totally missed the mark. Holla.